Today I fucked up by accidentally catching a cheater during a test retake. Update. I was called into the principal's office. A cop was there and I had to explain the situation. They reviewed the camera footage and she got suspended, and her violence is going to be brought in court for a separate case since apparently she has history with beating up random people. I guess I'll start working on myself now since most of the comments want me to start standing up for myself. Thank you everyone. So I've been pretty sick the past few days prior to the events and had to retake a test. How this goes. There are specific days during the week where you can retake a test after school hours. There's a couple people that watch over to make sure people don't cheat. Anyway, I was minding my own business filling up a test. I finish well before the others because my test was just short. As I get up to hand in my test, I make eye contact with this girl in my gym class. She has her phone opened in the book she's supposed to be using for her own test. It's clearly visible, at least when you stand up. So to warn her that she'll probably get caught, I gave her a "hide that shit" motion with my hands to try to warn her. She just smiled and giggled a bit in her seat as though she was proud to be cheating or something. Anyway, as I hand in the paper, one of the teachers who is supposed to check on the students got distracted and started talking to me about some of my work. I'm an artist and she commissioned me a couple times. And I was also enthusiastic, so I tagged along the conversation, while whispering of course. We chatted for maybe a minute or two and suddenly the teacher I'm with yelled, "Hey you," and points to the girl that's cheating. "I saw you. Give me your papers and leave right now." So I turn around because I'm curious of the situation. The girl that was caught was glaring at me so much, holy shit. She then yells at me, "You bitch." And honestly I was surprised and I kind of went like, huh? The girl gets annoyed at me and yells at me to leave. I didn't want to bother the other students in the class by letting her yell at me, so I left. Now since I need to wait for a ride to get back home, I waited in the cafeteria. It didn't take long for her to come see me. She started yelling at me, all angry. Calling me a bitch, telling me to shut up whenever I tried to explain the situation. I thought it was ridiculous, so I started smiling and laughing, which really didn't help my case. I got home and did my homework as usual. The next day though, I wanted to try to settle things correctly before she starts spreading rumors. She's one of those gossip girls. So I found her in my gym class and tried to talk things through because I expected her to have calmed down by now. Nope. She went all out on me, cussed me out again, didn't let me explain. She got so heated that she ended up punching me in the mouth. I really didn't expect her to become physically agitated, nor have I ever had a punch thrown at me, so I wasn't able to dodge it. Split my lip open. I didn't want to start a fight, so I continued to talk calmly. This time though I was pretty agitated myself, so I responded in a passive-aggressive way. Mainly to tell her how ridiculous it is to have gotten mad at me for getting caught cheating. And even more for that punch. I mean, she's 17 for fuck's sake. I left the class to get my face cleaned up. Fast forward to today, 3 days later, there's been rumors going on around the school for my snitching. Reminder. I didn't, and I've been getting called named since. A broken lip and the reputation of a teacher's pet, all because of a misunderstanding. I just hope it dies down a bit because I really don't want to leave things at that. There's no reason for both of us to hate each other. Too long did not read. Caught a girl in my class cheating. A misunderstanding was created and I have got physically and verbally abused since. If she assaulted you in class, cheating on a test isn't her biggest problem anymore. Rumors will die down as soon as something more interesting happens. As far as the violence goes, this girl has issues. Chalk it up as a loss and stay away. Have you reported the assault to the school and police? If not, you need to do it now while the video is still available. Because if you wait too long, it's going to be her saying you hit her first. TBH, being a teacher's pet isn't even a real insult. It's embarrassing to view teachers as the enemy. They're here to help you learn and grow. They're literally just people. Next time she yells at you in public, yell back loudly enough for everyone to hear. Maybe I should have snitched instead of covering for your ungrateful ass. Then tell anyone who will listen that she obviously had her phone out and you were trying to distract the proctor so she could hide it. Today I fucked up by asking a classmate if he had an American accent. This happened a year ago, but I still have classes with the guy and I think he'll hate me forevermore. To preface this, I live in Australia, and when this happened I was at university. At the time, the classes were available online and on campus, so the teacher would record the classroom for the students attending online. I still had about 15 minutes before class resumed, so I just went back into the classroom early. There was only one other person in the room who was a fairly shy kid I hadn't spoken to before. I sit down at the end of the table and we begin to small talk. I notice while he's talking that he seems to have a really strong American accent, like what you'd hear on one of those Californian reality TV shows or something. So, to keep up the awkward small talk, I ask him, "Me, are you from around here?" Him, "What do you mean?" Me, "Oh, I just noticed you have an American accent. Are you from the US?" Him, "No. I'm not. It's a nervous thing." Me, "I'm sorry." Him, "I'm autistic." Me, "I didn't know." Him, "Gday mate. Is that better for you?" At this point I'm baffled. I have ADHD myself and I know quite a few autistic people, but I never knew that sometimes their voice could come off with an accent. I also realize that this whole time the classroom was being recorded and all the people online watched that entire thing unfold. We then sat there in silence for another 10 minutes before the rest of the class entered the room. To this day, every time I share something in class he is the first one to criticize my work. Too long did not read. I asked an autistic guy if he was American and he still holds a grudge towards me. I would for sure have lolled at the "G'day" line. Maybe thrown in a crikey for good measure. Neurodivergence is no excuse for assholery. I say this as a neurodivergent person. He's a bit of a bastard, it seems, but you could try talking to him one-on-one and ask if he has a problem with you, and explain that's how he comes off. Chances are he's just used to criticizing you, and he's not realizing how it comes off due to autism. Could be worse. I once spent the evening talking to a girl that I thought had an interesting accent. When I asked about it she gave me a funny look and said she was from Australia. So I proceeded to ask her about Australia and tried to flirt with her. I later found out she had a speech impediment and thought I was making fun of her. My autistic son joined a new school. When the teachers asked if he was American he said yes. Went on for about 3 months, he thought it was hilarious. I agreed. Today I fucked up by ordering a pizza while I was browned out. This happened about 6 years ago, but I'm finally brave enough to share online. I was always a beer drinker but had started getting into mixers. It was only at parties and such, but I finally bought my own bottle of Kessler and a 2-liter of Coke for at home. One night after work about 9:30 p.m. I mixed my first drink, about 50-50. Things were fine. I was having a good time and decided to spark up a bowl. As the night went on my drinks were becoming a bit lopsided. 50-50 turned into 60-40ths in favor of the Kessler. It probably continued that trend, I honestly have no idea. Around 1 a.m. I ordered a pizza. I remember having $40 in my left pocket, $20 bills, and $200 in my right pocket, $100 bills. The pizza came to about $25, closer to $30 maybe. Pizza delivery guy shows up, I answer the door. He gives me the pizza, and I give him the money. I say, "All yours, buddy." I specifically remember him saying, "Oh my god, are you serious?" In my mind I thought, "Yeah dude, it's just a $15 tip." Happy to. "Thanks for the pizza." "No problem man, have a good night," I say. I'm sure you can all see where this is going. The next morning I get up for the day. I get ready to shower, take the stuff out of my pockets. $40 is there. 2 $20 bills. Some lucky guy was delivering a pizza, and got a $170 tip on a $30 meal. Now it just makes me laugh. I think about how that must have made someone's night. Thought about what I would have done if I got that tip lol. TLR got drunk on Kessler, didn't know my limits. Meant to give $40 for a pizza and accidentally gave $200. Probably made his week man. Awesome lol, too bad for you. Even if it was accidental, that's still an incredibly nice thing to do. Lucky man. But what sort of saying it, browned out, I thought you meant you'd taken heroin LMAO. As a former pizza delivery guy. This is not an isolated incident. Happened to me at least a dozen times. Largest tip was a little over $200 on a $45 delivery. Guy just said you saved my ass and stuffed 2 hundos and 50 in my hand and says keep it. He was high as Snoop and his wife, girlfriend had a look on her face that told me not to question and just leave. This cool story only cost $160. Today I fucked up being too excited about spices. This happened before I found this sub, but it seemed worth sharing. Definitely a TIFU. I love the smell of spices. Going to the spice shop is a real treat. I have a spice rack that takes up most of my pantry door, and I love the way my pantry smells with all the herbs and spices and things in it. I will go in just to smell it. Also, I grow a lot of my own vegetables. One year I planted a cayenne pepper plant. I figured I'd get some hot peppers for things, but I had no idea how prolific they were. I gave peppers away to anyone who'd take some. I put peppers in any dish that could use them, and still I had more. So, I had the idea to string them all up on fishing line and hang the line in the pantry to dry. There were probably about 70 peppers on this string. I didn't want to waste them, so I chose to preserve them. They dried, and I thought, I guess I'll crush them up to make crushed red pepper flakes. I crushed one with my mortar and pestle, and then said, nah, screw this, and got my food processor to do them all at once. I pulsed them up in the food processor, and it worked beautifully. Looking into the chamber, I saw a sort of red aerosolized mist. I guess some of the peppers had been fully powderized. And I thought, I wonder what that spice smells like. So I pulled the lid off, put my face next to the top, and took a big sniff. Obviously, in retrospect, it was basically aerosolized capsaicin. In other words, pepper spray. My eyes started burning, my sinuses and lungs hurt, I couldn't stop coughing. I tried to wash my face over and over but couldn't get it to stop. I had no milk. It took forever to feel normal again. Too long did not read. I tried to make my own crushed red pepper and accidentally on purpose pepper sprayed myself. I personally thought the food processor was going to be enough to gas out the house. This mad spice head stuck their face in for a proper sniff. Sorry to hear of your experience. May I suggest that you pickle your next batch of peppers? At least you didn't spray it in your dick or vagina like everyone else on this sub. I put my cayenne peppers in the smoker for an hour. Then let them dry out and grind them up. Smoked cayenne pepper is awesome. But in the words of the Blend Tech guy, don't breathe this. My husband and I grew a whole bunch of peppers one year and decided there was no way we could eat them all, so we thought dried pepper flakes would be perfect. We chopped everything really tiny and then put it into our oven on the lowest setting to dehydrate them and ended up gassing ourselves and the whole house. Never again.